The cry in the darkness. The night was heavy on the alien world. A silence stretched across the desert land. The stars above looked cold and distant. No wind moved, no bird cried, no voice rose in the air. Only the endless stillness of a planet that had forgotten mercy. Down in the heart of a village, a circle of stone stood old and cracked. At its center was a deep well, dark, filthy, damp. Its walls covered with moss and slime. Tonight that well was not empty. Tonight a weak sound rose from inside. It was the cry of a young alien woman, her voice broken, her throat dry. She had been thrown into the well as punishment. Her own people had dragged her, shouted at her, accused her of being cursed, and without another word they pushed her into the endless dark. Her body hit the hard stones below. Pain spread through her bones, but greater than pain was fear. She looked up at the circle of light above, faces staring down, cold and cruel, and then they left, leaving her with silence, with only the shadows and her despair. Hours passed, maybe days, she could not count. Hunger bit her stomach, thirst burned her throat. The damp smell of decay filled her lungs. Every time she tried to climb the stones, her weak hands slipped. Her voice echoed against the well walls. She cried for help again and again. No one answered, no one cared, until, one night far away, another being heard the faint sound. A sound carried by the still air. It was a human, a traveler, a stranger on this planet. He had been walking near the outskirts, searching for shelter and food, when his ear caught something strange. Not the call of an animal, not the cry of wind, but the broken voice of someone begging. He stopped. He listened. The sound was weak, but it was clear. It was not his imagination. His heart tightened. He could hear the cry of suffering. Help. Please. Someone. Help. The human froze. He looked around. The village was far. No one else moved in the night. Why could he hear this when no other answered? He followed the sound step by step, fear rising with each move. Finally, he stood at the edge of the village near the circle of stones. The sound was stronger now, coming from below. He leaned forward, peered into the darkness, his eyes searching, and then he saw them. Two faint, glowing eyes looking back at him from the deep. The woman's weak voice rose again. Please, do not leave me. Please. The human's breath caught in his chest. He stepped back. Fear and doubt filled his mind. This was not his fight. He was only passing through. What if this was a trap? What if the people of the village had reason to throw her? But the cry did not stop. It pierced through his doubt. It cut into his heart. No one else came. No villager, no guard. Only him standing at the edge of the dark. Only him hearing her call. His fists clenched. He looked around. The village seemed asleep. No one saw him. No one cared that a life was breaking inside the well. The human whispered to himself, "Why only me? Why do I hear her?" But deep inside, he knew the answer. It was not about chance, it was about choice. He leaned down once more, his voice low but firm. "I hear you. I am here." The alien woman froze. Her glowing eyes widened. Her heart trembled. She had been calling into darkness for days, never expecting an answer, never expecting that one voice would rise back to her. You are human," she whispered weakly. "Why would you speak to me?" The human's voice was steady, though his heart raced. Because no one should be left alone in the dark. For the first time since she had fallen into the well, hope touched. Her face, her voice shook. "Please, do not go, please." The human looked around once more, his mind filled with fear, with questions. But deep inside he felt something stronger, something that would not allow him to walk away. The night around them remained silent. The stars watched coldly. The village slept without care, but in that forgotten well, a bond had begun, a bond between one human and one alien woman. It was the beginning of something greater. But for now it was only a cry in the darkness, and the answer of one human who refused to ignore it. The human's choice. The human did not sleep that night. His mind kept returning to the glowing eyes in the darkness, the weak voice that begged for help. He had answered once, but answering was not enough. He knew it. He felt it. Still, fear clawed at him. He was only one man on a strange world. The alien villagers had cast the woman into the well for a reason. If he tried to interfere, he could face punishment, maybe even death. The next day he tried to walk away. He gathered his few supplies. He told himself it was not his burden, he whispered. She is not my problem. But every step away felt heavy. Every step felt wrong. By nightfall, his heart gave in. His feet carried him back to the circle of stones. The well waded in. Silence. But when he leaned forward, the voice rose again, weak but alive. You came back. The human whispered down. Yes, I came back. The alien woman's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She trembled as she spoke. No one comes back, no one listens, only you. Her words cut through him. His chest tightened. He lowered a flask of water tied with rope. Her hands shook as she drank, each drop saving her from despair. For a moment there was peace, but then the sound of footsteps reached his ears. He pulled back quickly, pressing into the shadows. 2 alien villagers passed by, their voices low, their tone bitter. She still cries, one muttered. The cursed one should have died by now. Let her rot, the other answered coldly. Her voice is poison, her gift is danger. Better to bury her alive than risk what she carries. The human froze, his breath shallow, his mind racing. What curse? What gift? Why did they fear her? When the villagers were gone, he leaned over the well again, his voice urgent. Why do they fear you? What gift do they speak of? Her silence lasted long. Then her voice rose weakly. Because I was born different, because I can touch minds, I can feel thoughts, I can share pain. The human's heart pounded. Mind touch, thought sharing, abilities beyond his understanding. No wonder they feared her. But as he looked into her trembling eyes, he saw no threat, only suffering, only loneliness. Is that why they threw you down here? He asked, his voice low. Yes, she whispered. They called me dangerous, they called me cursed, but I never wished harm. I only wanted to heal. I only wanted to help. The human felt his chest tighten, his fear and doubt mixed with anger. How could her people condemn her for a gift? How could they abandon her? He knew then, his choice was made. He could not walk away, he could not leave her to die. But danger grew around him. Each night he came with food and water. Each night he listened to her broken voice. Each night he felt the bond grow stronger. The villagers began to whisper. Someone was helping the cursed one. Someone was defying their law. One evening, as he crept to the well, a shadow moved behind. Him? A hand grabbed his shoulder, a harsh voice asked, "What are you doing here, human?" His heart thundered, but he forced his face calm. I was only walking, only looking. The villager's eyes narrowed, suspicious but not certain. After a long pause, he let go, warning, "Stay away from the well, human. It holds only death." The human nodded quickly, but inside his fear grew stronger. He could be discovered any moment. That night, as he leaned over the well, his whisper was heavy with urgency. I cannot leave you here much longer. They suspect me, they watch me. Her voice trembled from the darkness. Then leave me. Save yourself. No, he said sharply. I will not leave you. If I must risk everything, I will. The silence stretched between them, and then her weak voice rose, filled with disbelief. Why? Why would you risk your life for me, when even my own people will not? The human's answer was simple but powerful. Because your life has value, because no voice deserves to cry unheard. Her eyes glowed brighter, wet with tears. For the first time in many nights, hope touched her heart. The human pulled back, his mind racing. He knew he could not delay. He would need to plan. He would need to act soon. The night air grew colder, the village around him still and silent. But inside the dark well, a promise had been made. The human had chosen he would not abandon her, and that choice would set fire to everything that came after. The secret of the well. The human could not rest. Every night he returned to the old stone circle. Every night he lowered food, water, and words of comfort. But with every visit, the danger grew heavier. The villagers whispered louder now. Someone was helping the cursed one. Someone dared to defy their law. Still, the human kept coming. He could not stop. He had heard her voice. And once a voice was heard, it could never be ignored. Tonight, the air was sharp with tension. He looked over his shoulder again and again, afraid of eyes in the shadows, afraid of discovery. At last he leaned over the well, his voice low. "I came back." Her weak voice rose from the darkness, trembling but alive. "You always come back." Her glowing eyes looked up at him, not with fear anymore, but with something new. Trust. The human lowered bread wrapped in cloth, lowered water tied with rope. She took it with shaking hands. She ate slowly, carefully, as though every bite was a miracle. When her strength returned, she whispered, "You risk too much for me. They will punish you if they find out." The human whispered back, "Then let them punish me, but I will not leave you." For a long moment there was silence, only the sound of her slow breath in the damp dark. Then she said, "If you help me out, you must know the truth." The human frowned. "What truth?" Her voice dropped lower, filled with fear and sorrow. "The well is not just a prison, it is a tomb. It was built long ago to bury voices like mine." He leaned closer, his heart racing. "Voices like yours?" "Yes," she whispered. "Those who carry the mind touch, those who feel thoughts, those who hear cries not meant for the ear." The human's breath caught. Suddenly he understood. It was not chance that he had heard her call in the night. It was her gift reaching out, her mind screaming for help. She looked up, her glowing eyes wet with tears. "I did not mean for you to hear. I only reached into the darkness and you answered." The human's skin chilled. His heart thundered. He had not just heard a cry. He had felt it, drawn by something deeper than sound. He whispered, "That is why no one else heard. Only me." "Yes," she said, "only you, because your heart was open, because your spirit listened when others turned away." The human pulled back, his thoughts spinning. The danger was greater than he imagined. If the villagers knew her gift still lived, they would never allow her to rise. They would kill her to silence it forever. But her words cut through his fear. "If you leave me, they win. If you save me, I will owe my life to you and I will never forget." The human stared into the darkness, his choice clear, his path dangerous. That night he whispered a plan. "I will return with rope, with tools, when the night is deepest. I will come for you." Her voice trembled. "They will kill you if they catch you." "Then I will fight," he said, his jaw tight. "Because I cannot let you die here." Her glowing eyes widened, her breath shook. For the first time she believed escape was real. But as the human pulled back to leave, a shadow moved at the edge of the circle. A sharp voice cut through the silence. "Who are you speaking to, human?" The human's heart froze. He turned. A tall alien guard stood there, spear in hand, eyes narrow with suspicion. The human forced his face calm, his voice steady. "I speak to myself. I walk alone at night." The guard's eyes narrowed more. He stepped closer. "This well is cursed. No one comes near it, not even strangers. Why do you stand here?" The human's fists clenched, his mind raced. One wrong word and his secret was lost. At last he said, "Because your people whisper of it. I wanted to see if the curse was true." The guard studied him long, his eyes hard. Then he spat on the stones. "Do not test the curse, human. If the voice tempts you, walk away or you will share her fate." He turned and vanished into the shadows. The human waited until the silence returned. His chest heavy with relief, his back wet with sweat. He leaned over the well one last time, his whisper urgent. "Do not call out tomorrow. Do not speak until I return. They watch me now." Her glowing eyes blinked once, her voice a faint breath. "I will wait. I trust you." The human stepped back, his mind sharp with fear but stronger with resolve. He knew now the secret of the well. He knew why her cry had reached only him, and he knew something else. If he did not act soon, the secret would die. With her in the dark, the night closed around him, the stars cold above. But inside his heart burned a fire that could not be silenced. He would return. He would face danger. He would risk all. For the alien woman in the well, and for the cry only he had answered. The escape. The human returned the next night with rope hidden under his cloak. His heart pounded with every step. Each shadow seemed to move. Each whisper of wind felt like an enemy's breath. The village slept, but he knew the silence was dangerous. Guards could be near, eyes could be watching. At the circle of stones he knelt, his hands shaking as he tied the rope to the old rocks, his voice low. "I came for you." From the darkness below, her weak voice rose, trembling with hope. "I knew you would." He lowered the rope step by step, his breath quick, his fear sharp, until it touched her trembling hands. She clutched, her strength almost gone but her will alive. The human whispered, "Climb if you can, I will pull if you cannot." Her glowing eyes looked up at him, filled with fear. "They will hear. They will come. Then we must be fast," he answered firmly. She tried to climb. Her hands slipped on the rough rope. Her body weak from hunger, every move a battle. The rope swayed, stones scraped her skin, but she forced herself upward. The human pulled, his muscles burned, sweat poured. But he did not stop. Inch by inch he lifted her from the tomb. Inch by inch the light of the night grew closer. Then it happened. Footsteps, harsh and heavy, voices cutting the silence. "Who is there?" Torches flared, guards rushed into the circle, spears in hand, eyes wide with fury. The human's heart froze, but he did not let go. He pulled harder, desperate. "Come! Now!" The alien woman cried out as her feet slipped, but his arms held the rope firm. He dragged her upward as the guards shouted, "Stop him! Stop the human!" Two guards lunged forward, but the human's fist met the first. His elbow struck. The second, pain shot through his body, but he stood firm. He pulled again. Her head rose above the edge, her glowing eyes wide with terror. He grabbed her arms, lifted her, pulled her from the darkness. She collapsed on the stones, breathing hard, her body shaking, but she was free. The guards charged, their spears aimed at the human's chest. In that moment the woman screamed, not with fear but with power, her gift unleashed. The guards froze, their spears shaking in their hands, their eyes wide, their breath caught as her mind touched theirs. They dropped their weapons, clutching their heads, falling to their knees. The human looked at her in shock. Her voice echoed in his mind and in the air. "I never wished to harm them, but I will not let them take me again." He grabbed her hand, pulled her up. Together they ran into the shadows, the night alive with shouts behind them. The village woke, torches flared, voices screamed. "The cursed one has escaped. Stop them." But the human and the alien woman ran, through dark alleys, over stone paths, hearts pounding, feet bleeding, breath ragged. Guards chased them, spears flashing, torches burning. The night turned into fire and fury. At the edge of the village they stumbled, blocked by 3 more guards, spears raised, faces cold. The human stepped forward, his fists ready. Though his body was weak, he whispered, "Stay behind me." But the woman shook her head, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. She stepped forward, her voice sharp. "No, together." She raised her hands, her gift poured out. The guards staggered, their minds filled with the weight of every pain they had caused, every scream they had ignored. They dropped their weapons, fell to the ground, broken not by blade but by truth. The human stared, his chest tight. He had seen power before, but not like this. This was more than a gift. It was justice. The woman's voice shook. "They tried to bury me, but they could not bury what I am." He grabbed her hand, pulled her through the last path, and at last they broke free, out of the village, into the wild night, the stars burning above. Behind them the shouts still rose, but weaker now, the chase fading. They collapsed together on the rocky ground, breathless, alive. The human whispered, "You are free now." She looked at him, tears shining in her glowing eyes. "Free, because of you." But deep inside both knew the danger was not over. The village would not forget, the guards would not forgive, and the secret of the well was now alive in the galaxy. The human had pulled her from the darkness, but in doing so he had lit a fire that would spread far beyond one village, and the night whispered with the weight of what was coming. Humanity's answer. The human and the alien woman stumbled across the rocky ground, breath short, hearts racing. The cold wind cut their skin, but they did not stop. Behind them, the village still burned with anger, torches glowing like fireflies, of hate. They climbed a hill under the stars, each step heavy, each breath sharp. The woman leaned on him, her body weak but her spirit burning. She whispered, "You should have left me. They will hunt you now." The human's grip tightened on her hand, his voice firm. "I will never leave you, not then, not now." At the top of the hill they stopped, looking back at the distant village. Shouts still carried through the night, spears flashing, anger rising. The hunt had not ended. The woman trembled, fear in her glowing eyes. "They will never stop. They will kill us both." The human looked at her, his jaw set, his voice steady. "Then let them try." They pressed onward, deeper into the wild lands, the ground rough, shadows alive. Each sound of night a warning. But the greatest danger was not the dark. It was the pursuit behind. By dawn they reached an old ruin, stones broken, walls crumbled, a place forgotten by both time and people. There they rested, hidden in silence. The woman sat against the stone, her breath heavy, her eyes wet with tears. "All my life I thought no one would hear me, no one would answer, and then you came." The human sat beside her, his face tired but calm. "Because your cry was never meant to be ignored, because no life should be silenced." Her hands shook as she whispered, "I owe you everything." Before he could answer, the ground trembled with footsteps. Shouts rose again. The villagers had tracked them. Spears glinted, torches burned. The hunt had arrived. The human stood quickly. Fists ready, eyes sharp, he whispered, "Stay behind me." But she stepped forward, her voice strong though her body weak. "No, not behind, beside." The guards closed in. Their leader shouted, "Give her up, human. She is cursed. She is poison. Step away and live." The human shouted back, his voice filled with fire. "She is not cursed, she is not poison. She is life, and she will not die in darkness." The guards roared with fury, rushing forward. The woman raised her hands, her gift blazed, the air shook with unseen force. The guards staggered, their minds filled with her voice, not only sound but truth. "You call me cursed, but it is you who curse yourselves. You bury what you do not understand. You silence what you fear, but no more, no more." The guards screamed, dropping their weapons, falling to their knees, their minds broken by the weight of their own cruelty. The human stepped forward, his voice loud and steady. "Remember this night, remember that it was not your people who saved her, not your leaders, not your laws, but a human who heard a cry and answered." The villagers froze. Fear and shame burned in their eyes. The human's words cut deeper than any blade. The woman's glowing eyes turned to him, her voice trembling with awe. "Why do you fight for me so fiercely? Why risk your life when even my own kind abandoned me?" He looked at her, his voice low but powerful. "Because humanity does not turn away from a cry in the dark, because we know that the measure of life is not power or fear, but compassion." Tears filled her eyes, her voice breaking. "Then your kind is stronger than I ever believed." The villagers stepped back, their courage broken, their will shattered. None dared move against the human and the alien woman now. Together they turned away, walking into the rising sun, the village shrinking behind them, left with shame and silence. At the edge of the wild land, the woman whispered, "You did more than save me. You gave me back hope, you gave me back life." The human smiled faintly, tired but steady. "And one day your people will see what I saw, that you were never a curse, but a gift." The wind carried their steps into the horizon, the dawn painting the sky with fire and gold. And though the night of the well would be remembered as the night of fear, it would also be remembered as the night humanity answered, the night one human proved that even in the darkest pit, a voice of compassion could shatter chains. The woman looked at him one last time as the sun rose, her voice steady now, strong. "I cried into darkness, but it was you who became my light." And together they walked into a future unknown, their bond stronger than fear, their story only beginning. For the galaxy would one day remember this night, not as the night of her Curse, but as the night a human chose to listen and in listening changed everything.